Hey guys, Miss Scorpio here. I'm back with another video today. This video is going to be on shadow work. I really think during these times, particularly, we need to work on our shadow work. I mean, regardless, you should work on your shadow work. I mean, it's your choice, but that's something everyone could benefit from, but even more so during these times. Shadow work is important and it can help you succeed and move on in the future and heal from your past and make you a better person and make you have better relationships with your family and friends. It is something that just helps your soul progression. So I'm going to jump right into it because it is a little bit lengthy. So yeah, let's get started. So a lot of people might not know what shadow work is. Shadow work is basically your shadow side. So the dark side of yourself that we tend to keep suppressed or hidden from the outside world. They're the parts of ourselves that we don't really want to look at and need to be healed. Once you learn from it and accept it, you have self-knowledge and you understand why you do the things you do. So why did I say, do, or react that way? So I have some examples written down of what it means if you have a shadow side. Everyone has a shadow side, but these are just some examples to give you to really pinpoint and focus on your areas. So the first one is harsh judgment of others. Pointing out flaws and insecurities in others. Quick emotional reactions. Playing victim in all or most of situations. Pretending to have no bias or having them and justifying them and being a know-it-all. So there's just a few of them. There's way more than that, but those are just a few that tend to be in most people's shadow side. So the shadow side is things that we don't want to view in ourselves and things that we see as evil or not good about ourselves or other people most of the time. A lot of times in shadow work or your shadow side, you'll see these things in other people, but you won't see them in yourself. And that's where you need to have to work on those things. Oftentimes our shadow side is created during childhood. So I'll give you a few examples of that. So in childhood, when our parents scolded us or told us something wasn't good or right, and we suppress those emotions back, and that's where that shadow side is. So for example, they say, no, this is bad and this is wrong. You don't do that. So in the future, we most likely aren't going to do that. And that part of our shadow side, it gets suppressed and it creates a shadow side to us. But then from there, we tend to respond in the future to those things that other people do. So for example, say I said something mean as a child about Sally. And then my parents told me, that's not right, you don't do that. Okay, I learned that lesson. But then I'm going to go along and see so-and-so say something mean about me. Well, that's not right. How come she's doing that and she's getting away with it? Well, then I can react in this way back to her because she's not getting in trouble for it and she shouldn't do that because that's what I learned when I was younger. Not saying that that person is right for doing what they're doing to you or saying something mean or whatever it may be, but if you focus on yourself and your shadow side, you most likely aren't going to be bothered by what Sally said about you or what Vicky said about you. You're not going to care. A lot of times we suppress those things in us that we learned to unlearn in our childhood. We just suppress it and they come out in other ways. They come out much later in life, or you know what I mean, and just in another point in time. Now these live in our subconscious because we adjust ourselves to our external world. And believe it or not, it's not something we can ignore. You can try to ignore it, but it's still going to come out whether you like it to or not. So a lot of times what we ignore in ourselves, like I was saying before, we see in others. And this is called projection. And in doing shadow work, it can improve our life, like I was saying before, and here are some examples of how it can improve your life. So where you can accept your own shadow, you can accept others' shadows, knowing that really maybe they're not doing that to be, for lack of better words, an asshole. Maybe they're just doing it because that's what they were taught. That's part of their shadow side, and they've repressed it, and now this is how it's coming out. So your relationships will improve with other people, family, friends, work environment, your career. It will improve those part of your that part of your life. And also you'll have an understanding and a better clarity of reality, the world around you and what's going on. So you're not quick to emotionally react to someone. You'll stop and think about it first, and you're more awakened to other things that are going on. So you see reality clearly. You're not going to think this person is, like I said before, doing this for this reason. They're doing it for this reason. And you accept others. It's a complete clarity of the entire world itself, or what we perceive to be the world. Now, I'm not claiming to have worked out my shadow side completely. This is something that I think a lot of people work on throughout their entire life, or if they do work on it early enough, they can navigate the world a lot more easily. So that's why I feel like even as kids, you should start implementing some exercises with children, or when they get to a correct age frame, to implement that in them. Also, the shadow side, not working with your shadow side can really drain you and make a damper on your physical and mental health. It can create problems in your body and your mental headspace and your spirituality. It can create problems. So it's an all-around amazing thing to work on. And people tend to fear their shadow side, and they shouldn't, because I don't know if you heard the saying, without darkness there is no light, and that's the honest truth. Without darkness there is no light. There's the yin and the yang. So you have to sort of work with it, not saying worship the devil, worship evil. No, you have to look at it, understand it, and learn from it. Sometimes you may, even when you're feeling those emotions, feel them. Then after you're done feeling those emotions, sit back and think about it and be like, why do I feel this way? Why did I react this way? Why did this person react this way? And then you're doing shadow work, actually, when you start to do that. So one of the first things you should do when you're going to do shadow work is center yourself. So have a meditation, become one with yourself, be in a clear state of mind, be neutral. Don't be judgmental when you're going to do shadow work. That's why I said feel those emotions first, let them out, and don't let them out on other people. If that's what you want to do it, but feel those emotions, take some time for yourself, and then after that, bring yourself to a calm and neutral space, center. One of the next things is self-compassion. So understand that you're going to have these feelings, and so does everyone else. You have to accept yourself in order to get better. So again, reflect on your behaviors and thoughts and patterns. That's one of the biggest lessons in shadow work, is to reflect on your own thoughts. So when doing that, you can also do a mindfulness meditation. There's a whole bunch on YouTube, on the internet. I may be able to find some and put them in the link below for you guys. If you're interested in that, I'll definitely do that. And when you do, when you're done looking at yourself and observing and figuring out why you may have reacted a certain way, write that down, because then you can always reflect back on it when you're feeling sad or anxious or upset again, and you start to understand better. And then you may, before you have an emotional reaction, you may stop and think and be like, oh, wait a minute, I know what this is. I don't have to do this. Like, oh well, it doesn't bug me anymore. Also, another exercise you can do is make a list of your positive traits and then your negative traits. And you'll see where that lies. You'll have a self-love for yourself for seeing your positive traits, but you have to accept that you have negative traits as well. And you'll see that, and you'll be mindful of those negative traits that you may have, and you can work on them. Another thing you can do is study shadow archetypes. So there's this guy by the name of Robert Moore who he studies psychology, and he talks about the human psyche, whatever you want to call it. And he says there are 4 archetypes of the human personality. So there's the king, the warrior, the magician, and the lover. But then there's 2 other sub-archetypes from this one. So 2 other personalities of that archetype. So for the king, there's the tyrant and the weakling. For the warrior, there is the sadist and the masochist. For the magician, there is the detached manipulator and the innocent one. And for the lover, there is the addicted lover and the impotent lover. So really, I won't explain to you what those are, but study it. Look up the definitions of what those words mean or what those archetypes are. Apparently, there's a book out there. I have not read it, but I feel like that'd be an interesting book to read. So I might actually order that soon. Then there's a process you can do to start to realize some of your shadow traits. It's called the 3-2-1 shadow process, and I have it written down here because it's a process. So the first step is to choose what you want to work with. Most people choose a person with whom they have a disagreement with or don't get along with or find to be aggravating, or quite the opposite, they find to love and appreciate or obsess over. Just choose someone you have a strong emotional charge with. That could be positive or negative. And then you want to describe the qualities that upset you about this person or that you find attracted to. Step 2. Step 2 is to use third-person language with this person and write down their qualities that aggravate you. So this person can be jealous or angry or whatever it may be. There are traits that you don't like. Pick it and say, he or she is so-and-so. And create a list of those negative traits. Use third person for this, though. Step 3. Dialogue with this person in second person, using the word you. You are this. You are that. And then tell them what bothers you. Then go on to ask them, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this to me? What do you want from me? What are you trying to show me? What are you trying to teach me? Write it down just so you can have these things to look back on. Then you're going to imagine their response to those questions. So, why are you doing this? What would their response be? Can you think of what that response would be? What do you have to teach me? What would the response be to that? Speak it out loud. Speak their response out loud and record it if you need to. It's important to look back on. Step 4. What you're going to do next is take on this person's qualities, their negative qualities or positive qualities, whatever it may be. Use first person and say, I am angry. I am jealous. I am radiant. I am beautiful. Say those things out loud. So you fill in the blank of their negative traits with I am. Step 5, the last step, is to notice those qualities within yourself, whether positive or negative, And I'm pretty sure you're going to see that you have those qualities in yourself. Everyone does. Everyone has them. But own it and be it. And then after you're done with that process, re-own those traits and make them work for you. Because those were traits that were suppressed in yourself. And if you don't own it, that doesn't mean go out and be angry at everyone. No, that means own it and realize it. So when it's happening with someone, you take a step back and be like, oh, wait a minute. This person who I think is angry at me or is jealous of me, they might be, but I have that trait in me too. This isn't going to bug me. Why does this bug me? Oh my goodness, this is crazy. So really take that and use that exercise to start healing the relationships in your life. In your life. I think this is an important one to do with whoever annoys you or who you enjoy. Another exercise you can do is for 1 week, observe judgments of others that you may have. So when someone upsets you or pisses you off, observe them and write them down. Notice the quality that upset you and write down your opinions of people who are closest to you. And then make a list of advice you would give to these people that would make your life better or easier. And then reflect on the fact that maybe you need that advice, because those traits or qualities that you dislike about that person may also be in yourself. One more exercise you can do is to think of 2 different people that you don't like. For each person, write down 3 traits that annoy you or piss you off the most. So write down traits that piss you off about them the most. Not a whole long list, just 3 that annoy you the most. What of those 3 qualities would horrify you if someone said that you had them or posted them to social media? Then think of 2 people that you admire and have love for. Write down 3 traits of theirs that you admire most, but you think you could never have. Which ones make you smile and laugh? Which ones would you like said about you someday or at your 90th birthday? You look at those traits, and those traits are your shadow. They're both your shadow side, but they're your dark shadow and your light shadow. So there are things you aspire to be, which is your light shadow, and then there's things that you already have that are darker. Once you identify these things, you can start moving on in your process of your shadow work. Once you do these things, once you figure out your negative traits, do a self-love exercise based off of those traits. So you can say, even though I'm insert negative trait, I still love and respect you to the utmost. And say them about all your traits. So that means, even though I am this, I still love you. You, the person in the mirror, I still love my shadow side. Another thing you can do is ask each trait, what is your gift? What is their gift to you? Your pushiness can mean that your needs get met. Your loudness means that your loudness helps you be heard. So what is their gift to you based off of those negative traits? Then you ask, what do you most need to tell me? So your anger or judgment is telling you something. Obviously, if you're mad at someone or you're judging someone, it's telling you something that you need to realize. Sometimes they just need to be heard and accepted. The more you acknowledge these negative traits, the more free you become. So the first step is to identify all of these traits. Then you learn to accept them. Then you learn to love them. Then once you learn to love these traits, you embody these traits. So you leverage them for your own growth. From there, you learn to integrate them. So you see value in those traits, and they help you evolve into a better person, or where you're meant to be, for lack of better words. So yeah, that is pretty much all I have on shadow work. I mean, I could honestly keep going on. There's a lot more exercises, but really thinking about the word shadow side, it's self-explanatory. It's your dark side. So, and everyone's scared to delve into the dark side of themselves, and they shouldn't be, because it can only help you in the end. So I challenge you to take this time and delve into your shadow side and work with it and see where you are a month from now if you start working on it now. Anyways, that's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. If you have any video requests or a topic you would like discussed, any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them in the comment section down below, and I will definitely get back to them or do a video on them maybe. So thank you so much. And yeah, have a good night. Blessed be.